What's up, true believers? I'm Roderick, your friendly neighborhood geek from Fresh Geek Entertainment, the one-stop shop for everything geek related. I'll be bringing you reviews on the latest in geek culture, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, anything honestly that sparks my interest. Be sure to thumbs up the video if you like my content. Today, I'll be reviewing She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, Episode 3, The People vs. Emil Blonsky. I can't wait to get into this episode. This is one of my favorites. Let's jump in. Alright, so you probably want my non-spoiler thoughts before I get really deep into some of the juicy content that's in this episode. I would say I really love this episode. This is one of my, I know I say this, but this is one of my favorites. The reason being, I love the story A, the story B. I like how they come together near the end. I love the characters that are introduced in this episode. I think it's very interesting, the dilemma that someone would have to deal with this kind of situation. And I'll be honest with you, and there's more I'm going to go into, especially in episode 4, because I've already seen it. In episode 4, there's some questions around the legality of the show. I want to tell you right now, I actually really like the way we showcase all the legal hearings. I remember I was a little concerned with, before the show debuted, the writers or the creators behind the show had stated that they hadn't really focused on the lawyer aspects. I think they were underselling it. They do, and it's amazing, and it's hilarious, and it's great. So my non-spoiler thoughts are, I really like episode 3. I think out of the 3 episodes I released, I would definitely say that the first, A Normal Amount of Rage, is my favorite. I love that one. I would say second is Superhuman Law, and then The People vs. Emil Blonsky is third. But in no way do I feel like the show is going downhill and is raising the stakes as we move forward, because there's some definite elements that they're adding that I really want to talk about at the end of this episode. So I would highly recommend checking this episode out. It's chock full of jokes. Get ready. I mean, the post-credit scene, oh my goodness. I love this. This is fantastic. And yeah, I can't go into any further. So, okay, so the story starts out with Jennifer, after finding out that Emil Blonsky's video leaked, the fighting between Emil Blonsky, well, let's call it Abomination, versus the Sorcerer Supreme, which is amazing. Can I just ask you, the audience, are you guys expecting this? I don't. This is just new to me, the fact that we have these encounters, we have this video, even looks like it's shot handheld, even though I believe it's taken straight from the Shang-Chi film. They shot it in such a weird and interesting angle that I really believed it was handheld and it was leaked. Also, I just want to let people know, when they showed that video at the end on the news, it strictly states that it was leaked and not that it just came out now. I know some people were saying that there's continuity issues with that.
Shocking footage leaked showing the Abomination.
No, the video leaked right now, and that could be, I'm actually very curious. I think I raised up in my previous video that I'm very curious to the timing. It's very coincidental. But let's jump into the episode a little bit more. Jen returns to the DODC maximum prison. After she speaks with Emil Blonsky, what's really interesting when you're watching this scene is you're noticing that Emil is smiling as he's watching the fight. I don't know what they're trying to communicate to the audience here, but it's definitely concerning to me, and I'm very interested in the future of Emil, especially when it comes to what happens later on in the episode. Okay, there's something I really wanted to talk about that I think is interesting. Does anyone get the sense that this puts Marvel Studios in such a perfect creative bubble that they can explore the character of Emil Blonsky as a reformed character, which really throws people off, maybe his true intentions? I get this underlying feeling that, remember, he was a military tactician. This guy's skills can range from, close quarter combat, long range combat, strategic battlefield tactics, I mean, this guy has a laundry list of abilities when it comes to military trained. He was picked as a prime example to be a candidate for the super soldier serum in The Incredible Hulk to go and combat someone like the Hulk. I think that's really interesting. And the way he's playing this all up, I think there's a bit of nuance to his acting that I think we all need to pay attention to. He seems very calm. He only shows kind of a concerning nature when he talks about the past.
Is that all you got?
So it's clear he's upset with how that was handled. Watching him watch his own fight, he seems very pleased and enjoyed the fact that he was fighting Wong. I love the way he introduced Wong. A sorcerer supreme of the mystic arts, and his name is...
Wong, just Wong, and his internet presence is a little chaotic. He's either a sorcerer who lives in New York or a librarian who lives in Nepal.
I love that. That's brilliant. I love the way that this show kind of plays with the characters and their interactions. I also want to talk about the thirst trap.
Of course I can get to him. I sent a thirst trap. It was a picture of me with a bunch of books.
Nikki uses books, and this is because she's actually read his LinkedIn profile. Wong's LinkedIn profile is amazing. You know, you'll notice a few things right here. You'll notice that he was a Target sales associate. Now the location's very interesting. It says Karmartaj, Nepal full-time. So I think they're implying that there was a Target that existed within the actual building, because he also moved up to a librarian. And so he was 9 years as a Target sales associate. Now, Target sales associate may not mean like Target, like the brand we know. It could be someone who sells targets within Karmartaj for archery, for knife throwing, who knows? So he may have worked in the barracks, the military, the weapons department. The next scene, it's Jennifer Walters. She's in her She-Hulk outfit. This is the outfit that she wears when she has to go to GLK&H, and she can transform into. So it's an oversized suit. I believe it's from Big and Tall, which would be amazing. The thing is, she breaks the fourth wall here, looks at the camera, meaning she's now looking off screen, off road, and I really just want to get the sense of, you know, what are the fourth wall breaks here? Are they necessarily in universe, or is she able to tap into something where her subconscious is able to pilot the vehicle? Like, I might be overthinking this, but I know that there's a lot of people questioning, what do other people in the universe think of She-Hulk when she's doing this? Does she disappear? Does she just seem like a crazy person talking in a direction? I think people want to see that. All right, when the public starts looking at how She-Hulk represents Abomination, it's a big news story. When it comes to Emil Blonsky, I mean, there were crimes that he committed back in Incredible Hulk. Since then, they have now imprisoned him in the maximum prison DODC facility. And now that She-Hulk is now representing this character in the MCU, the public reacting to She-Hulk as being a Hulk, pointing out things like,
Took the Hulk's manhood away, but then they gave it to a woman?
Yeah, man. I don't get it. Why are you doing everything more female?
So we have a Me Too movement, and now all the male heroes.
I have no problem with female heroes. I'm just saying, make your own.
I don't know about y'all, but I'd smash.
this was uncomfortably amusing. I am shocked at the outrage at She-Hulk. I feel like it does a really good job at balancing these political outlooks on the character. I don't necessarily feel like it's pushing any sort of agenda, to be honest with you. My opinion is, if you feel like you're being attacked here, you need to ask yourself questions. This is really unfortunate, to be honest with you, because there's such a great fun show here. This character wasn't just created in the last 10 years. Seeing Wong here have this kind of charismatic interaction with Jennifer Walters, I love this. We finally get to see Wong. It's still Wong, you can tell. It's still the character, but he's definitely knows that he's in the She-Hulk show. And he gets to play with it, and he gets to be a little jokey with Jennifer Walters, and I think he deserves it. For me, this character deserves the spotlight he's getting here, where he's a lot more comfortable. He gets a joke with somebody. We move forward with jumping to the B story, which is Dennis. He fell in love with a shapeshifter, a white elf from New Asgard, and this elf has been impersonating celebrities, specifically Megan Thee Stallion. Amazing. I love the fact that this case that Pug is helping Dennis on is just a ridiculous one, but you absolutely do believe Dennis is the type of character to believe he could woo or ruse a celebrity like Megan Thee Stallion. He has that egotistical confidence. I thought that was amazing. This episode has been killing it with some of the jokes that the writers are coming up with. I love them. One of my favorites is said by Pug when the white elf impersonating Pug leaves his office.
I love harassing women in the workplace. It's my kick, baby.
Not cool.
Let that be a warning.
I don't. You guys know me.
I love that line. Killed me because again, this show relates to a lot of people, and there have been chances where, you know, someone may have spreaded gossip or something, misinformation about you, about some instance, and you have to clear the air, and you're like, yeah, you know me, like what are you talking about? Honestly, I never expected the 7 soulmates to be real soulmates or real romantic interests, and it's really making me question my concerns I have for Emil Blonsky. You know, something like this pops up and you start to believe he may actually be not just reformed, but a different character. And Marvel gets to play in this creative explosion of ideas that Marvel may have not been able to have the opportunity before with the character in The Incredible Hulk. And Emil is very convincing, to be honest with you. He really feels like he's reformed and different. So maybe Emil isn't out to create some strategic plan to get himself out of prison. Now, we do know from some promotional material, some things are going to happen that may go against his hearing. So we'll talk about that more in the future. But one of my favorite jokes here is the kombucha line.
Instead of toilet wine, prisoners make toilet kombucha.
Where Emil has been teaching people how to make kombucha in the toilet. I just died. That's brilliant. I don't know if anyone else gets the feeling, but it's very clear that the white elf doesn't care for our politics or our laws, especially when they're like impersonating judges or just celebrities. So not only are they unknowing to our laws and what that may be, but I also believe that this is also setting us up for how the Skrulls will also have a difficult obstacle to get around when their powers are literally to transform their being into a person and to be them. So I really feel like we're trying to explore some areas here and create laws. Remember, from these court hearings, people can actually escalate these matters further, and especially when you're talking about the superhero law division. I think a lot that's going to happen in this show has a greater consequence on what's legal and what's illegal moving forward. Wong explaining his reasoning, and then the people on the panel asked Wong, like, thank you for being a witness for Emil Blonsky, but you know, these matters need to be answered. And I just love how Wong just looks to his left. He's like, yeah, bye. And he just creates a portal and he just escapes. And I think we need to talk more about this. If you're in the Sorcerer Supreme, we're going to talk more about that in episode 4 because they explore the mystic arts and potentially the legality around it. I'm really looking forward to that deep dive into how that affects the greater MCU moving forward. Again, another fourth wall break. I love that Jennifer Walters looks at the camera and goes,
Yep, no, you're gonna need that.
Connecting the A and B story. Nice.
because this is a trope that is in so many procedural shows. I like that Jennifer Walters is calling that out here. And I'm so thankful that even the writers are aware of this. And I want them to keep doing this. Please keep exploring these concepts. Now, Jennifer Walters wins the case. Awesome. Now, there are some conditions around Emil Blonsky's hearing and what's going to happen for his future. I can't wait for that to be explored. We're now jumping to the last scene in the show, and kind of why I say, like, I really love this show, but I definitely think the show ends early sometimes. We jump to the Wrecking Crew. Now, I want to go into why I think it's very important we start with the Wrecking Crew here as a bunch of kind of bubbling idiots. The Wrecking Crew from the comics, you need to figure out a way to create a live action version of these characters, immediately jumping to how they look and their powers before we actually get introduced to them is what the MCU does so well. And I think people are very unaware of the MCU's direct intentions with character development. They will sometimes give audiences not, something we want, but not how we expect it. And I think this is very important because this has been a pattern I've noticed since Phase 1. Let's give the Wrecking Crew some time. I really do believe we will see them in their full getup with all of their gear. They're already using Codename.
Okay, fellas, I admit that did not go exactly as I imagined it. Thunderball, did you get it?
No. Once you turned into She-Hulk, I couldn't pierce that nasty green skin.
Now, I still want to know who their boss is, because that might have a direct implication to what they're going to transform into. I just think the show cuts early. I feel like there's a little bit more we could explore here, or explore in something else to tee us up for the next episode. But I think maybe that's what these post-credit scenes kind of do. Jumping to the post-credit scene, Megan Thee Stallion meeting Jennifer Walters as a lawyer. People were like, that doesn't make any sense. She's not a superhero. Dennis isn't a superhero, but because he had legal concerns regarding a white elf, this is why they need to be brought to the attention of the law firm. Same goes for Megan Thee Stallion. She's now had somebody impersonate her and had taken advantage of her celebrity status. Now, going into the scene where they start twerking, that's just amazing. I don't care what anyone thinks. This was needed. People had a lot of criticisms online saying, oh my goodness, what has the MCU become? And then can I just point out this clip right here? So you've already seen these, and nobody raised a batting eye regarding their concerns about a dancing superhero either doing pelvic thrusting. I'm sorry, but this online audience, the vocal minority needs to relax. Please. Seeing a superhero dance is not a big deal. With this amazing post-credit scene, this, again, I will actually add now, kind of going through my thoughts, and I will give you guys a final verdict. Honestly, this show deserves an 8.5 out of 10. And I'll tell you why. That post-credit scene bumps it up a 0.5 and puts it in line with the first episode. I know I started this review saying, I would rank them like this. So the second episode I gave an 8, the first episode I gave an 8.5. I would bump this up to an 8.5 as well. The humor just hits. It hits so well. I love, and I can't wait to talk about episode 4. We'll get into that, but the humor hits there as well. All right, everybody. I hope you loved my breakdown, my overall review, my conclusion, my verdict on the She-Hulk Attorney at Law, episode 3, The People vs. Emil Blonsky. It's been just such a fun ride. I've been loving making these videos. I will let you guys know, I will be doing some more on-camera work. I think it would just make it easier for some of my editing, and I won't need to include so many clips and videos. I enjoy doing that, but yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. All right, see you in the next one, everybody.